Target, so I'll soon be like moving to Minneapolis. So I'm very excited for that. So I actually got like brought along to this event by Katie. I interned with her last summer at Target, and she just wanted me to kind of like share my journey to tech, and like how can like you can also make an impact in the tech community at like a young age. I would say like I started my journey in like when I was a sophomore in high school. So I actually moved to United States like 6 years ago. I was in Bangladesh, and I moved with my family. So when I first like joined high school, it was like a really big cultural shock for me, and I just like wanted to like get along with everybody, make new friends, like kind of fit in. And I found out that my school had a robotics team, and like in my country, like we didn't really have like that opportunity to like have like a robotics competition at such like a young age in high school. So I was like really interested, and when I first joined that club, I think like that was kind of like the turning point in my life. I met my best friends from that club, and also like I like learned, like got my foot in the door for like tech through that. So it's like I think like a lot of like I think like a couple of you might have heard it, like so our club used to like take participate in like the first robotics competition. So it was like a really cool opportunity for me to like I guess see that how like at like a young age I can like have access to all these like technology, build robots, and then kind of like get to know other people who have like the same passion as me. I think that was like the big like I loved about it. Like when I first went to my first competition I ever attended, it was really amazing, like getting to know people, like students, like who has like the same passion as me, and like sharing that like same like hobby, I guess. And I think like with that, like we in my high school, like when I was like a senior, we actually were able to go to nationals for the robotics competition. And that was like I guess like I think still to this day that's like the best day of my life, because it was like a really amazing opportunity, like because in the nationals, like it was not only like students from like different states. There were like students from like different countries in there, like in that competition. Like I met people from India, Brazil, like different European countries, and it was like really cool. Like we had that language barrier, like we didn't speak each other's language, but we shared the same like love for technology. And I'm talking about this because like I did that when I was in high school, and I really didn't think like that would be like such a big deal. But actually, because I was involved in the robotics team, and that kind of like gave me the direction that like where I want to go with my life. So when I got into college, I actually like I chose like computer science because I thought like that's like the closest thing. Because when I in the robotics team, like I did a little bit of coding, I thought that would be interesting. So I chose computer science. And I think like when I first took my first coding class, that's when I knew that okay, this is for me. Like this is my life. Like I would love to do coding for the rest of my life. Like a lot of people say that like they got influenced with like their family, like told them to be engineer or something like that. But for me, like my mom like didn't really wanted me to be an engineer. She was like, oh yeah, you should be a doctor. But like when I first like took that coding class, I was like, like this is what I really like doing. Like when I first solved my like first coding problem, I was like, mom, like I didn't know what I don't know what I did, but like it worked, and I feel amazing. So I guess like from then I thought that like that kind of like opened up the door to technology for me. And I like to like one thing I want to say that where I am right now is because like I think like Tara and Rihanna, they both said the same thing, that saying yes to opportunities. I think like one thing that brought me to this point that like I'm still in college, but I still have an offer from like such a big company, Target. Not a lot of students have that, and I think that happened because I used to say yes to everything. Like, I'm that person who would join like every single club on campus. Like, I literally joined like a lot. Like, I think I was part of like 10 clubs on campus. I still am, but it's because I just love meeting new people. I love like exploring, like different opportunities, different like hobbies and everything. Like, and that kind of opened up the like paved the way for me, like like I guess like where I am right now. When I was a sophomore in college, like I joined this club. We have this like computer science club. It's like a national chapter, National Society of Black Engineers and Society of Hispanic Engineers. And I just joined the club because I wanted to meet more people from computer science, have the same major as me. And I love volunteering, so I told them that I would like to help with the club. And in our college, we actually host like one of the biggest like hackathons in the like in New York City. So when I volunteered in that club, like I met like people who were like organizers, and I got to like know them, and through that way I got to network with like all the alumni, all the sponsors that we had, and that kind of like gave me the option to like talk to more people and get more opportunities. And I guess like one thing I want to say that one big thing to land any like internship or opportunities is for you to like talk to people, network with people. When so like when I used to like do all these events, I would always like try to like talk to people and tell them that that like my interest, my passion, and that kind of like told me that like sorry, I'm just getting a call. Yeah. So when I in the hackathons, I used to like we in our school we had these hackathons where we had like a lot of companies like Google and Target, and they were the sponsors. And I used to like talk to them, and that's how I landed like some of the internship. Like in my junior year, I did internship at HBO as a cybersecurity engineer, and after that internship experience, I had the opportunity to like talk about that, and that also landed me the opportunity to work at Target. And like as like I mentioned, like through my Target internship, I met Katie, and now here I am. So like that's kind of like my story, but I would like to like ask you guys if you have any like questions or any advice you would like. I don't know.
What part of first were you in?
I was part of the first robotics championship, like the one for high school. So we participated in like the high school teams, and yeah.
Oh, what was like your favorite part about doing first?
My favorite part was, I guess, so I used to do community outreach. So in my high school, so like one of the big things about First Robotic Competition is that they also encourage the high schoolers to not only just like work on your robots or just like show your skills through that, but they also like tell you to like ask you how you are like helping out your community, like community engagement part. So in our high school, we actually created a summer like a robotic camp. So we actually had like a camp for 8 to 12 years old, and where we mentored, like we had like a 1 week of summer camp where we had like these little Lego robots, and like had like a mini competition for the kids. So all of these students who would like volunteer with the kids, and like we would like mentor like 2 or 3 students, and like for the one whole week they would get to build like the Lego robots, and at the end of the week they will actually get to like have like a big competition where they could like play against each other, and later on like would like give them like a gift card and everything. So it was like a kind of mini like first competition, but for the kids. But I think that was like the best part because like I thought like I didn't really know anything about robotics because I like recently joined. But when you get to work with kids, like you kind of like get to like see actually like okay, I do know stuff, and it was like really cool to see like even like the kids had like so much interest in like robots and everything, and like how you get to kind of like impact those like young kids. But yeah, I would say like that was like my best part of it.
Oh, what was your team name?
Oh, my team name was Mega Dogs. So like our like mascot is like a bulldog. So it was like Mega Dogs.
That's so cool.
As someone who's now leaving college, what is something that in college you think everyone should get involved in?
I would say like definitely like joining clubs, like that has helped me the most. Like I think so in my sophomore year, like there was this point like, so it was like a small college, like the college I'm going to. I don't know if I'm saying was, I'm already getting used to that like postgraduate life. But I think like there was this time like I kind of wanted to like transfer out of the college because it was like a small college, and I thought like I would get like better exposure or like better like opportunities if I went to like a bigger university. But like I think that was like the exact time I joined the club, like the club I mentioned, like computer science club, and met the people, and they kind of like helped me so much, with like giving me opportunities, like letting me helping them with the organizing the hackathon parts and everything because I love organization. So I think like meeting them, and then like because they kind of were at like my position, so they were able to like help me out, mentor me, like helping me like prepare for internship, preparing for interview, salary negotiation with everything. So like I'm grateful that like I didn't like transfer, and then met those people at the exact time, and like was actually like willing to like take on the help and like continue with that, because that's why I'm here right now. So I would say like getting involved, like it could be a club, it could be just like by like participating in an event, because that's how you can like meet people, and they'll like lead you to like something that you want. Because I truly believe that when you give back, you kind of like get stuff. Like it just like it like when you give back, it not only helps them, it also helps you like in the like later on. You don't know how, but like it'll work out. Also, I'm also like the chair for the Women in Computer Science Club in my school, and because I was part of the school, that's how I actually applied to this event that Target was having, like a Target Women in Tech Symposium. So since I'm a leader, they choose like about like 50 student leaders across like US, and they kind of like pay you for like they like fly you out to like Minnesota, show you the offices, and like you, and they have like a mini hackathon, and like they actually like gave me a on the spot interview as well. So like I stayed for Minneapolis for 3 days. I got to like visit all the Target like headquarters, and like participate in the hackathon, and also like got the interview. And that only happened because I was part of the like the like I'm the chair for the Women Computer Science Club, and that kind of like helped me sell my. And then I did like good on the interview, and that landed me the internship. I did good on the internship, and that landed me the job. So it literally started with just like me joining a club, and like trying to like helping, and then like that. So I guess yeah.
That's so cool. Do you have any advice for people who want to go into computer science too?
Yeah, I would say like first, like with the computer science, like I guess like figuring out that like why do you like coding, or like why do you want to go into computer science. Because like if you like once you like find out that like that you like it, I think you just have to like look for opportunities like that can like help you learn more. Because in college, like we have that like the traditional classes that we take, that's just for like your knowledge. But the one thing that helps you the most is like you trying to learn coding on your own. Because that like in college, like it takes a while to actually like learn Java or like the skills that we need for internships. So it's like really helpful if you just like try to practice on your own, like maybe talking to somebody who's already like maybe ahead in your class, and asking them like if they have any courses that they recommend. There's like plenty of like online courses that you can take, or just like kind of like playing around with your like own like that like there's a lot of like open source projects that we have. But I guess like even before that, like even learn like taking like a Java course, intro to Java, or intro to like any like Python, any introductory course, that will like open up stuff for you that like at the end when you're taking the class is going to help you like absorb more like knowledge from that class, and you'll have like better chances succeeding in those classes. And also like I think the best thing you can do is like applying to internship even if you're a freshman. In New York, we have this program for freshman student that like without like even if you don't have any coding experience, you can do like a winter internship. I'm sure like there's like internships available like in Minneapolis area or like Minnesota, that's like they take in like beginners who are like have like little to no knowledge of coding. But I think like having that internship helps you a lot like later in life. Like you're probably gonna be like a lost in the beginning, or just like even if you don't land the internship, just going through the interview process helps a lot. Like I think even as like a freshman, sophomore, or like a high school student, going through the interview process, like talking to people, like putting yourself in that like situation prepares you mentally. And then later when you're doing internship, like when you're doing interview for like actual internship, you're ready, like you're ready at that time.
Sharmin, I have a question for you about how you made the decision to stay on at Target after your internship. I'm curious if you explored other opportunities for your full-time job after graduating, after completing that internship, or if that was kind of your main goal. How did you end up taking on that position?
I think like as like a CS students, like we always like try to like apply to a lot of companies, even though like you have your like a set company, but you're still like exploring your option, because like at the end of the day you would wanna like kind of like work for where you have like I guess like better pay, or like where you're like the company you're passionate for, and all these like a lot of different things to consider. For me, I think I just had to first figure out like what I wanted in the company that I want to like work for next, because I had like past internship experience that helped me. Like that's also one of the big reasons like having internships, that so I knew that like what I wanted in a company, like I knew that I wanted the company to have like similar values as me. So when I actually worked in intern, like did my internship at Target, I saw that like Target had those values. Like I found the similarities. Like as I mentioned, I love organizing events. So as when I was actually intern, I was able to like like a couple of interns, we actually like hosted our own event. Like I know like usually Target like have like these like networking events, panel event for interns, but we actually organized an event for the entire intern class. And by like I saw that Target gave me the opportunity even as an intern, like to kind of like having my own thing, that I loved about Target. And then also I love like as I mentioned I'm part of like the Women in Computer Science, so that's one of my passions, like like promoting tech, and like making sure that like women are also like participating in tech. So Target does like really good stuff with that, like Twist. Even this event is like a big example of that. So I guess like during my internships, like during my time in the internship, I saw like all these like stuff that like Target offers like beyond the job, and that kind of like made me decide that like okay, this is the company I want to work for. And I know like there's other companies I interviewed with, but at the end of the day, like I didn't work there, so I could only tell like what it is, like how it is from the outside. But since at Target I've like worked firsthand, I know how it is. And as a software engineer, like usually like I don't really like it doesn't matter like where you work, because technically you're just coding at your like 9 to 5 job. But what it matters for me most, that like what I'm doing outside of that, because the people I'm meeting, or the other like impact that I can do outside my 9 to 5 job, that mattered to me a lot. So that's how I was able to like decide to like what company to work.
Awesome. Well, I think we should have time for one more question, maybe, if anyone else has anything to ask Sharmin here on our conversation. Well, and if not, we could let us go a few minutes early here. Sharmin, thank you so much for joining us today and talking a bit more about your experience. Oh, it looks like we actually do have a question. I'll let you answer that one, then we'll wrap up.
Yeah. Is it like specifically like with Target? I mean, like as like a software engineer, or just like my major? Coding. Okay. So I guess as I mentioned, I was part of the robotics team. So like that kind of like when I was in like high school, like so I knew that like I wanted to do something with like engineering, and I first thought I wanted to do mechanical engineering, but that didn't really work out with my college. Like my college did have like an engineering program, but so like the closest thing was computer science. I just like took it out on a whim. But as I said, like when I first took my like did my coding class, and like did like the coding assignment, I just fell in love with it. Like I knew that like that was something like was really fun for me to do, like seeing a problem, having the solution, coming up with the solution. It was kind of like math, but better, and I hate math. So I think like so that's when I knew that like I wanted to do coding, and I stayed on with the major, like learned more about that, like okay, I'm doing computer science, but what would it mean for me to be like a computer science student? And then I explored like the other options. Did internship. First I thought I wanted to do cybersecurity, and after my internship I was like, yeah, no, that's not for me. And then so I was like, because it wasn't coding heavy, so like that was also like, because I went to cybersecurity internship, I didn't get to do that much coding, and I hated it. So I was like, okay, that means I need to get a job that has coding involved. So when I did a software engineering internship and had a lot of coding, I was frustrated for a lot, like most of the time when I was coding, but it was still like a good like feeling. So that's how I knew that like, okay, this is what I want to stick with. So I guess like I would say like even like as a high school student, it's always that like you should always like try to see, like, because if you're starting in college, you could take a couple of classes, different classes, seeing like what like you would see, going to class and seeing like what you like, and then you can always change your major, and you can always like apply for internship and seeing that like, okay, how would it feel like if you were to be in a real world. And then if you don't like it, you could always like change your major, or like do something else. So it's really important for you to like explore options. So yeah, for me it worked out.
Awesome. We have hit the top of the hour here, so I'm gonna let us all go out on our break before our next session in 15 minutes. But again, Sharmin, thank you so much for all of your insights here and sharing a bit more about your path from where you chose to go to college, choose to major in, and where you're going to end up at the launch pad of your career. So very excited to hear the great things that you've got coming your way. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, and everyone else here, our next speaker is going to start in 15 minutes. So we'll keep the room open, and feel free to hop in or out, or if you want to join another room, there's speakers going across the board there. So let us know if you have any questions, or we'll just be hanging out in here for the next 15.